Hello, welcome to How to Triathlon. In this video, I'll show you how I prepare a short sprint triathlon event. So the race that I'll be doing is something in my area called the Lake Wilderness Triathlon. And I just picked up the packet today in this envelope, and let me show you what it comes with, right? So it has basically a map of the course, the bike course, the swim course, and so forth. So particularly for the sprint course, I just have to remember after making a right turn on the first red buoy, I make a right turn again on the green buoy and head back to the beach because the orange line is for the longer Olympic distance. And I also have a running bib, helmet sticker, and also a bike sticker. And it also comes with a swimming cap and an ankle belt. The timing chip is in here, so this is something that you have to make sure that you wear at all times during the race and never take them off until you cross the finish line. So first, let's look at how I prepare. So the way I think about it is I just visualize what I would be wearing that day. So starting with basically the tri pants and and also the tri top. So I'll be wearing this when I wake up, and then I don't have my wetsuit here, so I'll bring my wetsuit as well. And then once I get to the race, the venue, I would be putting on my wetsuit, and at that point I'll be putting on my ankle bracelet, and also the swim cap. And you always have to wear the one provided by the event because, well, for a lot of, especially like for races like this one, they're color coded, so the Olympic distance would have a different color, and that's how they make sure that everyone get in to the right wave at the right time. So for the swimming, it's relatively easy. I'll put on the ankle bracelet, swim cap, and goggles, and I usually bring a pair. And I'll also put on the tri-slide or body glide on my body first before putting on the wetsuit, so it will be easier to get off. And then I start visualizing, okay, then after putting all this on, I'll be ready for the swim. And it will be a relatively short swim, just a quarter mile or 400 meters. Once that is done, I'll head back to, so I'm envisioning in my mind about transition 1. So for T1, first thing is I'll get my tri-suit off. I would get my caps off, my goggles off, make sure I have my ankle belt still on. And the first thing that I always do is, after I get this off, first thing I always do is put on my gloves and also my helmet. And because I wear glasses, I also have a pair of glasses here. And you notice that I have a different pair for running. That's because with this specific helmet, let me show you really quickly here. It basically comes with a shield. And once I put the shield on, it's actually pretty tight. So this is a narrow helmet, and once I put the shield on, there's just not really a lot of room. It's hard to do it with one hand, but you can see over here, there's a magnetic clip. Once I clip on, very little room for eyeglasses there. So I typically wear like a lighter piece of probably a more narrow piece of sunglasses. I'll put on my gloves. I don't like to put on socks because socks on wet feet just takes forever for me. I haven't figured out how to put on socks quickly on wet feet. So I'll just put my bare feet in on this bike shoes, and these are shoes designed more for triathlon. So with really good ventilation, and also they dries very quickly. And I also have my bike computers here that I will put on my bike once I get to the venue and when I hang up the bike. I usually during T1 will take one energy gel, and I got another one here that for sprint distance, I really don't need it, but I may just tape one to my bike, so that if I feel like eating, then I may just eat one kind of towards the maybe 10 minutes, around 10 minutes, or 4 to 5 miles before the bike part ends, so that I have enough time to digest and will be useful by the time I get to the run. Now for the run, first thing, the way I've visualized it is I get back to the venue, hang my bike on the rack, then I take off the helmet. Never take off the helmet before you hang on the bike, because you could get disqualified. Even though in events I never see that happen. And then I'll take all this stuff off, and then I would just hop into my running shoes. So I already have elastic on. Would be really quick to put this on. And I'll put on my my sunglasses if it's sunny. Otherwise, I usually don't bother. I'll just wear this pair. And I also have a muscle relaxant here. There are many brands. I particularly like this one because I was doing my first 70.3 and my legs just completely lock up, and I have a very bad cramp within the first mile. And this is what they have at their aid station at mile 1, and it literally saved me, so that I can finish the race. So sometimes for longer distance, I'll just kind of put them on my calves really quickly before I start my run. For sprint distance, I usually don't bother. So this is more for demonstration. And the final piece here is the bib holder. So I lost my typical one, so this is another one that I have. And the idea is, let me put this on my tripod. So the idea is, the event already gave you some safety pins. So I have 4 of them here. But unless you like to put holes on your tri-top, I usually don't bother using them. And and if you use them, it's also tricky because when is a good time to put them on, right? Because if you put it on your tri-top, then you have to swim with your bib, which typically is not really a great idea. So if you were to use this, I would recommend just putting it on a separate tech shirt or t-shirt that you can quickly put on, so you don't have to spend time putting on the bib. So the nice thing about these guys is with this kind of bib belt is that you can just quickly hang them on here like this, right? And these are standard length. So the idea is, you would unclip it, and when you're done with the bike part, I just quickly put this on my waist, clip it in, put on my glasses, put on my shoes, and I'm off running. So that's how I can reduce my time during T2. And finally, so that's pretty much everything I will be using for the Sprint Triathlon this weekend. And one thing that you may want to consider is getting a triathlon bag like this one. And the nice thing about this is it has a separate shoes compartment. So I'll just put my bike shoes in a in a plastic bag and stick it in here. And then my helmet, we just go into this bag, and then I have all my swim stuff here. And one thing I forgot to mention. Actually, give me 1 second here. Is that for the race? I have this mat and you can find them on Amazon. So sometimes I actually not sometimes, I always have this mat. So the way it will work is I will lay out this mat under the bike rack, and then my bike will be over this mat, and then I will lay out this mat and put all my cycling and running stuff on it, so that when I finish, when I come back, everything is nice and dry, and then I'll be, with just everything in one place neatly on the ground, and I can put everything on. And actually, talking about dry, I don't have it here, but sometimes I would bring a couple of plastic bags, so that if it rains, I would just wrap some of this stuff in plastic bags, so that when I come back from the swim or from my bike, everything won't be completely soaked. One thing I also do is I will bring an extra bag that I put on that basically covers the aero bar on the bike. So that's pretty much it. And this is going to be my first race of the season. So relatively short distance, it will be fun. And I hope you find this video helpful, and I hope this will motivate you to do your first triathlon race. So one thing I forgot to mention was the watch, right? So tracking for tracking your race, right? So here I have a Garmin Forerunner, right? And just want to make sure you get used to the triathlon function here. And sometimes you may not even have it added to the watch, right? So the way I set up my triathlon is, you kick off with the swim, right? And then I like to lock the watch afterwards. So you can configure it in the watch. So I have the swim, I have the watch locked so that I won't be accidentally triggering transition 1, because all you need to do to trigger the next step is to hit this button once. So when I get off the swim, I'll touch this button once. It will remind me to unlock. I'll hold to unlock, and then I'll press again to change to transition 1, right? So this is where I do all the changing into my bike gear. And when I'm done, I get to basically get to the mount line for the bike. And right before I get off, I press this button again. It will trigger the bike mode. So now it will basically start tracking my bike part, and it will lock itself again, so I won't have any accidental press on the button. When I'm done, when I get to the dismount line, right, and also make sure you stop your bike before the dismount line or you'll get disqualified. So get off the bike, and then I'll hold this button again and press, which goes to T2. And this is where I change from cycling to running. And when I, get to the start line for the run, I press again for the final part. And now, it will just track my run. And when I'm finally done, I'll just press this button here, stop the race, and then save it. And that will record my my whole triathlon race. So for now, I'm just going to discard this particular one. And here I also have a Garmin heartbeat sensor. This particular one is designed for triathlon. So you can see here, it basically has both swimming, biking, and running on it. And the nice thing about this one is that for the swimming part, it has memory in this device. So it can record my heartbeat while I'm underwater. Because it will not have any connection to the watch, right? So at the end, when I finish the race, when I stop the watch here, it will download all the my heartbeat data from my from this belt, and it will include the heartbeat data for my swim, obviously for all 3 events. And another thing that's nice about this one is for running, it has the running dynamics built in. So it also tracks basically how much your body's moving up and down and so forth. That you have all this data available that you can view later on in Garmin Connect. And finally, I also have a basically standard kind of rain jacket here for cycling. For races around this time in my area, where they could get pretty cold, actually the water temperature is probably going to be in the 50s, water temperature, hopefully high 50s. So when I get off the swim, even though it's just 400 meters, my body could be quite cold. And then I have to do like a 20K bike ride. So about 12, 13, maybe about, yeah, 12, 13 miles. So sometimes I like, for last time when I did the 17.3, I put on this jacket and it keeps me warm for the biking part. So that's one thing you may want to consider if it's going to rain or it's going to be cold. So that's all I have. I hope you find this useful. Okay, now I'm going to show you the preparation that I did on the bike. So I got this torpedo bottle here for front hydration. Since it's a sprint distance, I'll probably just fill it up with water. I'm not even bothered with maybe some electrolyte, but I'll probably get it from the energy gel. So I would not bother for such a short distance. I'll probably fill it up with water, put the Garmin computer on here. And then I have the bento box here that come with the bike. And for longer distance, I would be sticking in energy gel like this. But since for my bike rack, I actually have to take this out in order to hang it on my bike rack. So for this short distance, I'll probably forgo this. And then what I'll do is I probably just need one energy gel. I'll just put like a handlebar tape or electrical tape on the energy gel and stick it on the bar like this. And I typically like to stick it on this part, right? So I can just quickly snap it off and eat it during the bike part. And also making sure that, the chain is lubricated. Since I have DI2, quickly check in here. You just find the button here. Yep, so it's green, it's fully charged, still have a lot of battery. And also 2 flashing blue means I'm in shifting profile 1, which is what I want. And for my back arrow pouch, I'm not going to put on any bottles here for this short distance. I already have the bike number tape on my my zip post. And for for repair kit, very simple, just the smallest, like Allen key that I needed, a hand pump which can also take on CO2, hand wipes, which I wish I had on my first triathlon race, because what happened with me was it was it just finished raining. I was heading uphill and I was a newbie, right? So I changed the front gear ring while I was pushing hard on the hill. Not a good idea. So it basically, the chain locked up. The next thing I know is that the bike slid out from under me, right? And I fell on the ground. So it took me a while to turn the bike over and then have to use my hands to basically unwind the chain, which was jammed into the front chain ring. Not fun at all. So having a wipe would at least allow me to clean myself up, right, for the remainder of the race. And for my tires, I actually, for this distance, I only borrowed to bring 1 tube. And I like this particular one. I mentioned it earlier because you can see here it will fit between like 23 to 32 millimeter. So it will fit both my front and rear because their width are slightly different. So I'll pack everything into this pouch, and that's it. That's how I prep my bike for the race. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you find this useful, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you.